Well, here we go. I mean, I'm talking about this after the real big shit has occurred, but I can safely say I don't give a fuck about Ukraine. I think Ukraine is one of those countries that's just so fucked that there's no point. I don't think anybody seriously gives a shit about Ukraine. Let's be honest. Nobody cares. They just hate Russia. That's all it is. They hate Russia. They don't care about Ukraine itself. They don't care about the fact that, you have all this sort of this fake nationalism, this sort of you can only speak Ukrainian in, parliament, I think, and you can only speak Ukrainian in these certain places and shit like that. That is true in Ukraine. You have massive corruption. And of course people say, but Russia's corrupt too, but Russia. Yeah. You also of course have a lot of LARPing, you know, neo Nazis, with the especially with the Azov battalion. Um, and of course, nobody talks about that. Much the same way as the guy who was part of the Azov battalion, open neo Nazi who was trying to foment some trouble in Belarus. And like I say, they were just like, well, he may have been a Nazi, but and it's bullshit. Ukraine continues to attack these various parts and everything. Of course, you can talk about the Maidan and everything else like that. Like I said, this is a big struggle. Um, I just got through listening to Vosh's bullshit on it, comparing Russia to a starving dog or a dying dog, and talk about some racism or something like that. Holy shit! But I don't think Russia is going to invade Ukraine. I think this is just more posturing than anything else. Like I say, Russia is trying to play a back and forth game. They have allowed residents of the Donetsk People's Republic and the Luhansk People's Republic to have citizenship for Russia. So they are technically, you know, you can get citizenship for Russia and for the Russian Federation, I should say. So it's kind of one of those back and forth sort of things. Like, people aren't really sure where that's going to go, but the constant, I mean, the bombings that have occurred, or better yet, the shelling, more specifically, the shelling of uh, of Donbass in particular, of Donetsk in particular, um, motivate a lot of people, including, of course, Russell Bentley. I don't listen to Russell Bentley anymore because I think he's full of shit. I think he can go ahead and say what he wants to, but his fat ass is not going to be out there. There's going to be actual, you know, Russified Ukrainians who are going to be out there. His fat ass is going to be back there, talking shit and being just being a larper. So I don't really care about his bullshit. I think it's ridiculous to see all this with Russia. Nothing's going to happen. The United States rightfully should not get involved with Russia at all. It's none of our business. It really isn't.
Recovery. Uh,
It makes us look fucking stupid to be like I say. It's just like I say. It's all very vain, but there's another word I'm thinking of. I just can't think of it offhand. More insincere. But there's another word I can't think of it. But glib, I think is maybe a better word. But this sort of glib sort of feeling about like we need to defend Ukraine from, fascist Russia or something like that. Ugh. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares. There's so much shit that's gone on. The separation between the Orthodox, the Russian Orthodox Church from the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, the Like I said, the LARPing neo Nazis, the folks who dress in SS uniforms, actual IRL SS uniforms, marching down the street, trying to portray themselves as you know, we's the true Slavs and shit sort of thing. It's all just bullshit. Say what you will about Russia and everything else, but if I had a choice between Russia and Ukraine, I would join Russia. With a president who was an actor who literally gets support from Kolomoisky, a somebody who lives in Israel but is considered Ukrainian, gives support to, it's amazing to me, of course, for all the folks that talk about, oh, the poor Palestinians, this and that. They won't talk about Israel giving support to Azov or any of these other LARPing groups. You don't see them do that, do you? It's because they don't care. And they just, they talk about when they need to. Um, the US doesn't have the cojones to do that. When people say World War III, nobody gives a fuck about that. Nobody cares about that. I'll tell you that right now. Okay? Nobody's going in to defend Ukraine. Nobody's going to come in and defend Poland, you know? Um I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just jaded, but it's just ridiculous to see all this sort of bullshit go on and people pretending they give a fuck about Ukraine. No, they don't. They just hate Russia. That's all it is. They just think that Russia's on its last knees, this and that. It's like, yeah, Hitler said the same thing. All you have to do is, kick in the door and the whole rotten structure will fall in on itself. He was wrong. He was wrong. And I think that, it is a very bad move to underestimate Russia. I'm not going to sit here and be a Slava boo or a Russia boo, but I will say is that it's wise not to underestimate Russia because it's a huge country. It has resources. It had, like I say, especially with this whole Nord Stream 2 deal with Germany, you know, there's a lot of let's not get too hasty here, sort of thing, right? So that's my opinion on it. I just think it's ridiculous when people start going on and on about it, like oh Ukraine, this and that. Shut the fuck up. Shut up about Ukraine. You don't care about Ukraine. It's all just some larping ass bullshit. Shut your mouth. This is what constitutes the left today, though. Are folks who either are like they're Russia boos and everything else, and of course they'll kind of gloss over what Russia is today, or they're basically just neolibs or neocons who are like, well, yeah, we need to intervene in Ukraine because Russia is fascist, bro. We're doing an anti-fascism. It's just okay. I'm done. I'm done. It's just it. All I can say is just screw Ukraine. I'm sorry. I don't hate the people, but the current Ukrainian government is bullshit. Um, if you support the current Ukrainian government, you are a moron, or you're getting paid. That's all I can tell you. Yeah. Anyway, see you later. Goodbye.